All right, guys, on today's episode, it is a fun one. We're talking about our tallest flip to date. This is the tallest item that we have flipped and shipped so far.
Yeah, the shipping part is really why it's a big deal, because this thing was a 12-foot tall...
12 and a half foot tall.
12 and a half foot tall bus wash. So
super cool. This one, like I said, it was the tallest. But the cool thing about this is it was the tallest when the item itself, but we actually laid it down on its back to ship it, because most of the items that we ship freight, they cannot go into an 18-wheeler if they are over, I want to say it's either 8.5 feet, somewhere around there. It can't be taller than that to go into an 18-wheeler. So we actually had to lay it down and then pallet it like that.
I guess.
Yes. Still the tallest item, but we laid it down, and it was a super long pallet that we built for this thing. But it was a really cool one.
How tall was the Harley Davidson sign?
I think that was under 8 foot.
It had to be, right?
Yeah, under 8 foot.
That was an impressive crate. We'll have to talk about that another time, but that was a pretty one.
So this one was cool. So I bought this item from a local auction, paid, what was it, $650? $650. So we paid $650 for this item at a local auction. It needed a little bit of work, and it sat on the back burner. I would probably say I left it on the back burner for a little while before I sold it. So what actually happened, this is a really cool story.
It wasn't even listed.
No, it was not listed.
Okay.
So really cool story. So I bought this one. It needed a little bit of work. I got the motor that ran it on the bottom of it. I got it rebuilt and didn't put it back together, so it sat for a little while. And we were on our road trip, our first around the country road trip that we did with 2 of my sisters, 4 of my nieces, our 3 kids.
11 of us in a 15-passenger van.
In a 15-passenger van.
That's a whole nother podcast.
It is. But as we were finishing up that road trip, I was looking at items up in
North Carolina.
Outer Banks. It was Outer Banks. So we were looking for items while we were up in Outer Banks on our way back from the road trip.
In case you haven't noticed yet, if you've been around for a little while, he loves to find stuff wherever we go. It does not matter wherever. And we did have a trailer with us. It was a smaller enclosed trailer. So we could pick up, we did pick up a couple things. Yeah. But it was a smaller enclosed trailer. So.
But at this time on the way back, the trailer was pretty much full, and there's no way it would have fit in this trailer.
No, it was too tall.
The bus wash that we found. So we're actually talking about 2 bus washes. So while we were in the Outer Banks, I found this bus wash. Too big for the trailer. Outer Banks, I believe it was, 10 hours from us? Mm-hmm. Somewhere about 10 hours from Florida. I found it. I negotiated the deal on this for $500. While we were on the road trip, we came back to Florida, and I got an open trailer that I had, and we drove back up there the next weekend, picked up the bus wash, paid $500 for the second bus wash that we had. Now, this is the cool part. I listed the second bus wash.
Because it didn't need work, right?
It didn't. It was like brand spanking new. So I listed the second bus wash for $14,500, listed it, and somebody reached out to me and said, hey, what is the overall height of this? And the second bus wash that we bought was only about 10. It was 10. I want to say it was 10 foot, 10 and a half foot tall. Shorter. So it was shorter. It was made specifically designed for washing some type of, like, what are they called? Like a van or a bus. Just not as quite as tall as like a Greyhound bus or a coach or something like that. Yeah. So we went back up. We picked up the second one in the Outer Banks, brought it back, and I listed it on eBay, and somebody reached out, asked me the height-wise, and I told them no, and they said, I really need one that's over 12 foot, and I said, well, I do have this second bus wash. It needs a little bit of work. The batteries are no good on it, and I haven't replaced the batteries yet. I'll give you a really good deal on it if you want it. And the guy said, absolutely. So we sold this one. We sold the one that we bought from the auction first for
$9,000.
Was
it was $8,500 plus $500 shipping.
Okay, so
you decided to split the shipping with him. You said $1,000. So
cool.
Yeah,
$9,000 total. So we paid $650 for it at the local auction, and then we sold it for $9,000. And I didn't do anything to it other than get that motor fixed, which we have a local motor shop inside town. I took it to them. They rebuilt it. I brought it back. Put it onto it. That was the only thing that I did once it was laying down. We sold it for, like I said, I don't remember how much I spent on the motor. It wasn't very much. I didn't
have those.
You didn't calculate it?
That was from 2020, so I didn't.
Yeah, so a little bit back, but I probably paid like $200. The guy usually charges me when I do something like that. He rebuilds like golf cart motors and like starters and stuff like that. So he's a motor guy. Probably paid like $200 to have that done. So, anyways, overall, we listed the 10-foot one. I got somebody on the hook for the 12-foot one when we sold the 12-foot one, which was our tallest flip.
Which was great because it wasn't even listed.
It was not listed. We ended up getting it sold by somebody who was looking for that specific one. So that was a really cool story. And then we even sold the second bus wash that we bought from the Outer Banks for $14,500. So 2 bus washes.
And they ended up being long. You know, the funny part is we got back. we went back to go buy the bus wash in North Carolina. And when we go, you can't not fill up the trailer. And that's a big thing that we like to do is anytime you go, even if you drive an hour away or 2 hours away, make it worth your time. Stop at the thrift stores. Look for other items that you could find when you go. And we picked up 2 more items on that. One was that... One
was a bus and one was a really good oven. The oven.
Oh, one was a bust. Oh,
bust. One was not a good one. We've talked about that one before, but the second one
was the game that we talked about. Yes. Yeah, and the other one was an oven that we got $2,000 for.
We did. So. We got $2,000 for. I think it was in $2,400. It might have been $2,400. Right. It was a weird oven, a bigger oven, like a 40-inch oven, which is normal ovens are like 30 inches wide or 36 inch.
Beautiful.
It was.
Picked it up for $200 and sold it for $2,400.
Yeah. I don't know if we should go into that one because it's another story for another time. But so that oven was cool when I got to the guy. The guy comes out and goes, "You're Flea Market Flipper," and I was like, "Oh crap!" He knows who we are. He's like, "I watch you guys. I've followed you guys forever," and it was really, really cool. So he actually knew who we were. He knew what we did.
And then he's like, "Oh crap! I shouldn't be selling this because I could get more money." But the thing is, it's the local market, and he didn't offer shipping. He got it for free.
Yeah.
So he was like, "I'm gonna go make a quick $200," and he got it for free. So
they did a remodel and they gave it to him for free. So he made $200 off the deal, and then we made like $2,400 on it. We sold it for $2,400, but after all, we shipped it and did that stuff as well. Still cleared over $1,500 on the deal, and we picked it up along with the bus wash. So overall, we made really, really good money on that whole trip.
We lost $10 on, so that we talked about that just recently on the podcast.
Yeah.
So
if you guys remember, it was like a shuffleboard or a bowling game, an arcade game.
Yeah.
I should have walked away from it. And I didn't.
We should have walked away from it. Yeah. So it was those three items we came and picked up, but the bus wash obviously was worth it.
Yeah.
To go back up there and get it. And this is what I was gonna say. The funny part is it was our anniversary. So this is how we spend our anniversary night, and it was funny because we just ordered pizza at the sketchy. It was a sketchy hotel.
It was a sketchy hotel. We drove to the hotel, and there was a jail like right beside the hotel. We're like, what the heck are we doing?
Because I usually do a really good job of because when we're on the road a lot, and I'll go on Priceline and I check the reviews and I make sure. And we do like to stay at Holiday Inn Express. Like that's our favorite because they're always so great. Like they're just a really good hotel, and you know like what kind of bed you're gonna get. They're clean. We like them. This was a Holiday Inn Express. No, it wasn't Express. I think that's what
was it. Just a Holiday Inn?
I don't know, but it was in a sketchy part of town, and and you had your trailer.
It did.
Because
we loaded it up. We had it loaded up with stuff.
We got Domino's pizza. That's funny.
On our honeymoon.
No, not our honeymoon. Our
anniversary, which is crazy. So, ladies, be thankful for your men because this is what Melissa has to deal with me is going and picking stuff up. But it was cool because it was overall the whole ordeal. I mean, we made almost $20,000 on this trip back.
I'll take that as an anniversary
Absolutely,
present.
It was a killer deal on that. So, a couple lessons overall. When you are out of town, when you're traveling, if you guys can look for items, it doesn't even have to be big items. But when I find a big item, I will do it. And so that's the first takeaway is when you're out of town, maybe look for stuff that can pay for your whole vacation or your getaway, whatever you're doing. Try and see what you can find. You might be able to fit it in the trunk of your car when you're driving home or your minivan or whatever it is. Try to look for some items while you're out of town. Stop at a local thrift store or look in the apps, whatever you can do to find something to pay for that vacation.
Say Jenny just did that. Jenny and
her
husband. What did they sell? Was it a Turbo Chef?
It was a Turbo Chef.
For $6,000?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
And they bought it while they were on vacation and
paid for the whole vacation.
Paid for the whole vacation, or more than paid for their vacation.
I will say too, but we were up last year, up in, where was the farthest on the East Coast that we've ever been?
Maine?
Maine. We were in Maine, and we went to one of those parks. What was that park called?
The one in Maine. What? Arcadia.
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 So we went to Arcadia. On our hotel after we went to Acadia for that day, I looked and there was another bus wash. The problem was that was on the other side of not the other side of the country, but so far north, there's no way that I was driving back. Yes. Yeah, there's no way I was going to drive back from Florida to pick that up, and I couldn't fit it on our trailer that time either because bus washes are really, really big for our enclosed trailers that we have.
If it was in like a 10 to 12 hour stint,
yeah, I would make it happen. So we did find another one. So couple takeaways, like I said, look on vacation. When you're on vacation, look for those items. We've done that, and Melissa and I do that all the time. We go fun places with the kids, but I'm always looking for something that I can pay for on that vacation.
Or just a trip that if you're already going to get something, make it a day or make it that you can get more inventory on that time where you're traveling to. Make it worth your time.
Yeah, do a Google search for Habitat for Humanity's other thrift stores that are in the area. Find other thrift stores that you can actually stop at while you are out of town and look and make it a trip on. I mean, make it a really good trip that you can buy multiple items that you can bring back and sell. That's really,
What was your other tip?
I don't remember.
you had it on the
I got sidetracked. I get so excited about these stories.
You had it on the tip of your tongue. So I did have, the bus wash we sold for $9,000. We paid $650. The second bus wash we sold for $14,500.
Really, really good money.
Yeah,
so
we
on a single flip, even $8,500 or $14,500 on single flips, those are game changers.
And
I mean,
if you're wondering too, it cost us $800 to ship that bus wash, the $14,500. I don't have the numbers from the other one because it was a while ago. But I have those numbers. It was $800 to ship the second bus wash and
$10-foot bus wash.
$598 in eBay fees. And you might be like, okay, that's not right for eBay fees, and that's always the comment I get too.
Yeah.
When we sell the bigger stuff, but it's because the percentage drops, and we talked about this I think recently.
We did.
The percentage drops once you're over 2,500 to 2.35.
Yeah, 2.35.
Does it matter which category?
I think it's categories, but the normal categories that we're in is a heavy equipment.
2.35.
Yeah, 2.35 is what we pay. So it
drops down. And actually, I think it was before. This was even before that because they used to say anything over 750. I can't remember. What was the cap? They capped it. Like you only had a 350.
Well, 350 was at one point, but that was before managed payments took over.
Yeah.
They would cap all your seller fees, no matter what you sold, at $350. That was where they capped you.
Yeah.
And those were the good old days. That's what we loved. But then
if
they
you
started.
Had a store.
Yeah.
If you had a store, they would cap you at $350, and so we were like, yes, this is amazing.
So when we sell high profit, it really worked out well for us.
But it still is good. Anything over 2,500, we pay 2.35%. So that's a nice little break. So
roughly 13% to $2,500. Once it hits 25, everything over top of that, it drops down to 2.35, and that's why people don't really understand how we pay such little fees on a $14,000 sale. It's just because it's a lot less once it goes over $2,500. So
then our profit was $12,652.
Over $12,000.
So I think you need to find another bus wash.
Absolutely. Let's go. Heck yeah.
We need another one of those cha-chings. That's a pretty good one.
So by far our tallest, but we did lay it down and we laid it on its back to be able to ship it. That's what we had to do for this because it would not fit in a semi straight up and down, and it was safer to do that way as well, to lay down and do it. So we'll see.
Both made it safely. Both happy customers. All happy customers, and it was great.
Great transactions. All right, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. If you want to check out more tips and tricks in this business, check out this next video.